Think of it this way. It's like trying to prioritize your car's performance by focusing on the air freshener that goes into the car.
Hey, let's go racing!
It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you...
Every day, there's a new health hack. The magical supplement's going to make all that fat go away. Or we have to drink celery juice on an empty stomach. Or we can't use any technology after 6 in the night because that's going to affect my circadian rhythm, that's going to affect my metabolism, and the list goes on. This new diet that we can only eat meat on a Monday. The thing is, that's the wrong focus. We are always chasing the next fad, the next thing, the next best thing to chase. But you know what? What happens every time you tried one of those things? Did they actually work? Did they succeed? No.
Crash and burn, huh, Mav?
Because they're not addressing the 20% that will lead to the 80% of the results we want. Think of it this way. It's like trying to prioritize your car's performance by focusing on the air freshener that goes into the car. Where's that going to go? Is your car going to go faster? Definitely not. But we do the same with our health. And that's where the 80-20 principle comes in. And it's the Pareto's principle that says 80% of our results actually come from the 20% of effort. Now, when it comes to living healthy, I want to focus on that 20% that can give us 80% of the results. And what are they? The first one is dietary basics. Keep it simple. Start focusing on lean protein with each meal, fruits and vegetables more, less processed foods. And if I have to summarize that, take a plate of food, half your plate being fruits and vegetables, 30% being protein, 20% being whole, unprocessed carbs. That is dietary basics. If that is your focus, you're already winning at this game. The second one is move regularly.
I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it.
You don't have to become a marathon runner or a gym rat. Focus on movement. The body is built to move. The more we move, the better. We increase insulin sensitivity. We also burn more energy. But at the same time, we're exercising the body. The mind pays us. It improves our mental health. It improves our blood markers. It improves our heart health. And the list goes on. But you don't need to punish yourself with each exercise. Just focus on moving more. If your average daily step count is 5,000, you know what? What about the next week? Let's just aim for 6,000. Instead of taking the escalator, take the stairs. Instead of parking in front of the shop, park 3 parking bays left or right. Just walk a bit more. Instead of sitting during lunch and watching Netflix, have your lunch. Go for a 5-minute or 10-minute walk. Put in some headphones. Listen to a podcast. Just think, 5 to 10 minutes of walking or moving the body every here and there, that does add up. The third one, prioritizing sleep.
I'll sleep when I'm dead, all right?
Again, this whole notion of we'll sleep when we're dead. Sleep isn't important. Sleep is vitally important for physical health and mental health. Aim for that 7 to 9 hours per night. Put down the phone a bit earlier. Start creating a nightly ritual where you do a few steps that gets you into bed. Sleep sets us up for success the next day, or it breaks us down before the next day even starts. Sleep, vitally important. The fourth one is emotional health.
It's taking mental health days.
I think this again here, we never talk mental health. We're scared of this topic. It's shown as weakness, asking for help, talking about my emotions. It's not weakness, it's a necessity. We need to take care of our mental health or we are going to have to pay the piper eventually. And these can be things, journaling, taking time to relax, cutting out 30 minutes in a day just for yourself. Start working where you are now and start looking, what are those emotional stresses, the emotional distress? What is leading you to chase forms of escapism? And the moment we can start identifying these things, we can start addressing them one block at a time. Your emotional health does matter. And the fifth one, limiting sugar intake.
Sugar!
I'm not saying don't have sugar, just be mindful of your sugar intake. Because usually our most sugar intake doesn't come from the bowl of sugar we add into foods. It comes from the highly processed foods, all the snacks, the pastries, the sweets, the candies, the chocolates. That is where most of our sugar comes from. And especially for a lot of us, the sugar calorie sweet drink. Just start being mindful of all the extra sugar you are taking in your diet. If these 5 things are what you slowly start developing, the nutritional basics, working on moving more, sleeping, emotional health, and then limiting the sugar intake, If those are just the 5 things, every week we try to be 1% better. Guess what? That 20% of those efforts will give you 80% of the results you want. It's not the next fad diet. It's not the next big supplement. It's not this next biohacking thing you want to do. Yes, some of those things do have value to them, but they are pointless unless you actually have a strong foundation to add those things on top of.
Look, let's get real.
So I'm going to give you some tangible tips to make this transition, focusing a bit more, working a little bit better on that 20%. And they are the dietary basics. Start small. Every week, focus on one thing to do better. The first week, make it proteins. Ensure I have a lean protein with each meal.
Listen up.
Check in the description today. I'll have a link to a blog post that's all about proteins, the sources, and all these kinds of stuff that you can print out, read, that will help you on this journey. The second tip on the dietary basics is meal prep. On a Sunday, don't overcomplicate this. Cook 3 different kinds of proteins, maybe some pork tenderloin, some roast beef, some chicken breast, put them in the oven, roast them up, put them in the fridge. What about some carbs? Boil a pot of rice, cook up some sweet potatoes, cook up some potatoes. That way you know during the week you have proteins done and you have carbs done. Come Monday after work, you are tired. You know what? Just cook up some veggies. Takes you 5 minutes from a bag of frozen veggies. Then take that chicken breast, maybe some of the potatoes, cut that up into pieces, add a tin tomato can into that, add a bit of curry powder, curry and rice, and a side of veggies. You know what? Maybe you're feeling like a wrap. You already have beef in there. You already have the veggies you just cooked, and make something amazing. Maybe you're feeling like Asian food. Thing is, if we have the proteins cooked and the carbs cooked, it takes us 5 to 10 minutes to have a healthy meal that night. Plus, if those proteins and carbs are cooked, it's easier then to pack a lunch.
What's for lunch?
The leftover veggies from last night into a Tupperware container. Add a chicken breast to that. I'm going to scoop up some rice, tablespoon of low-fat mayonnaise, a dollop of Nando's chili sauce. Container done. Took me 5 minutes to pack that lunch. Wherever I am that day, I know I've got a healthy lunch with me. It's not cooking more, it's just being smart on how I'm taking my time cooking. Because most of the times when we get at home, it's not the cooking itself that's the problem. It's how long the effort is going to be. Now I have to cook the proteins, now I have to wait for the rice to boil. What if all that was done on a Sunday for an hour or two? Makes your whole week so much easier.
I like to move it, move it. I like to move it.
On the moving more, a few tips there. Set a timer. If you work in an office, every 60 minutes, let a timer go off. Just walk to the bathroom and back 2 or 3 times every hour. That adds up. Instead of parking in front of your office, park a bit further, walk. Instead of taking the elevator, take the stairs. It's just thinking, where can I fit in little 5 minutes of exercise breaks during my day? You'll be surprised at 5 to 10 minutes of steps, what that adds up to the end of the day.
Exercise.
Also, with a movement, join a group. See what walking groups are there, or running groups, or gym groups if you are into all these different kinds of things. Find something you enjoy and search for a group that does that. Groups keep each other accountable. It fosters community. And also, you mimic the environment you expose yourself to. So take charge there. Find like-minded people to start moving more. The third one, on the prioritizing sleep.
Sleep, 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 sleep.
Establish a routine. Routines are very important for some of us that can't just go to bed and instantly fall asleep. That routine needs to become a habit. Think about 2 to 3 things you can do each night before you go to sleep. The more you keep doing those exact same things, the more you are priming your mind to see that as a trigger, and then the script will run. It's time to go to bed. That might be, you know what, every night I'm going to make a cup of tea. Then once the tea is made, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to journal a bit.
Right.
Right?
Get all my thoughts on a paper, the things I have to do tomorrow that's important, do a brain dump. Then I don't have to worry about those things while I'm asleep. And then I'm going to go to bed, read 5 pages of my favorite book, and then sleep. The more you do all these steps every night, the quicker that's going to become a habit to get you into a state of sleep. Also, then think about creating a sleep sanctuary, your bedroom. Make sure it's as sleep-friendly as possible. Blackout curtains, make sure the room is dark. Make sure the room is not too hot. But also make sure there's not 500 different distractions in your room that's constantly going to be iPad, phone, TV, this, that. A bedroom is there for sleep. Generally two things, sleep and something else.
Naughty, naughty.
But we won't dive into that now. Create a sleep sanctuary. The fourth one, emotional health. A few easy, simple tips here. Number one, practice gratitude. We don't know what we have because we get used to what we have and that becomes the norm. We aren't grateful by nature. We always want more. So gratitude is something we have to practice. At the end of the day, just sit down. When I reflect back on that little sleep journal we just said, what if every night you write down 3 things you are grateful for that day? 3 things you saw, 3 things that made your day better, or 3 things you just are grateful for. Might be just sitting with a cup of tea, talking to your wife or partner. We need to practice gratitude because we get used to the things we have. Think of it this way, that first time you bought a new car or a new phone, you made sure that thing was clean, no scratches, nothing. And a year later, you already want a new one. You don't make sure your phone isn't scratched anymore. You will eat the pie in the car, leave the crumbs in there for a few days. Nothing changed. It's still the same car. It does the same thing. It's the same phone. But you got used to that. So now you want the next new thing. Practicing gratitude is a very important aspect, to just detach from the want and focus on actually what we have. Another very important one on the emotional health.
Friends.
Is connection. We need to socialize. We need friends. And the thing is here, you need to also think a bit. Are your friends making you a better version of yourself or bringing you down? If your friends are bringing you down, maybe it's time to look for new friends, because our social environment plays a massive role on our mental health. Either it's a positive or it's a negative. You need to be honest with yourself and look into that, because what your friends do, talk about, say, and want,
What, peer pressure? Fine.
are the things you are going to do, want, and try chasing. How's that playing out in your life? Be honest with yourself. And the fifth one, on the limiting the sugar, a few tips here. Read food labels. A lot of times we just buy food without ever realizing what the label is on it, or it says, because we get in a routine to just buy the same things. If you go to the supermarket, do you actually pay attention to what you buy? Or do you just keep buying the same things over and over and over? Most likely you were just buying the same things over and over because it's a habit. Habits are beautiful. We don't pay attention to them. And they do almost all the actions we do daily are based on the habits we've programmed ourselves. So stop a bit when you buy your groceries. Take an extra 15 minutes when you go shopping. Read the labels and look where those hidden sugars are. Because if you remember from our Bliss Point video, find the link up, and how foods are designed to make you overeat.
We shall overeat.
The addition of sugar in many foods lead us to eat more of that food, making it more addictive and more indulgent. Pay attention to that. Another easy tip here, stay hydrated. Many times when we've got a sugar craving or we're craving for something sweet, have a glass of water with a dash of lemon juice maybe, or a pinch of salt even, and you'll be surprised 10 minutes later that sugar craving's gone. A lot of time that craving for sugar is a form of escape, where we always put something in our mouth like food. So now we just want something to cope with that emotional distress, to get a little dopamine hit from that sugar. Hydrate yourself. Bit of lemon juice, a pinch of salt for electrolytes in a glass of water. A lot of times that will already kind of satiate that whole trigger response of, I need to put something in my mouth, I need to swallow something. Water, bit of pinch of salt, and some lemon juice is a great replacement for that. But also paying attention, why do you crave those foods? What are the trigger? What is the emotional distress? Are you wanting to reward yourself with that sugar? Or are you trying to escape from some negative emotions? Just build awareness. But then again, that sugar, the less we incorporate into our diet, the better for our overall health. Yes, this video might have been long today. And I want to give you a good foundation of trying to think, what 20% of your habits do you need to change to get 80% of those results? It's not the next fad diet. It's not the next workout program.
Yeah, 6-pack abs with absolutely no exercise.
It's not this whole 10 kgs and 10 weeks diet plan. Crash and burn. Focus on where you are right now. What 20% can we change over time to get the 80% of the results? Take those 5 areas. The dietary basics, sleep, the stress tolerance, moving the body more, limiting sugar intake. See which one of those 5 you're the furthest behind. And then every week, do one thing consistently to improve that. And if you can do one thing each week, the next week, do one more thing. But keep that first thing. And in the course of 12 weeks, you've changed 12 small things. In the course of half a year, it's 25 things you've changed. In the course of a year, your whole lifestyle is different. Small things, one after the other. It's often the simple and small things that add up to create the big changes we want in life. And if you've got any questions, please don't hesitate to drop me a comment down below on all of the things we've just mentioned. Look in the description. I'll add a few links to different blog posts and PDFs that will help you on this journey. And I would really appreciate hitting that thumbs up if you like videos like this. That way then I know you are finding value out of this, so I can create more of these videos. And keep in mind, be better today than you were yesterday.